Hey, this is Richard Miller with Goldie May, and welcome to another episode of Unrehearsed Genealogy Research. Today, I'm going to do another solo episode where I try to build on the suggestions and ideas that were previously given to me by others like James and other guests on the channel. I have the YouTube channel pulled up right now, and looking at our playlists, you'll notice new playlists for some of the various ancestors of mine and James's that we've researched multiple times, so they have multiple episodes. And today, I'll continue research on Mary Ann Leech. We previously looked at her in episodes 9 and 10. This is an ancestor of my wife from Ireland, and I thought it'd be a good time to go back and look at this one. So we'll do that today. Thank you for those who watch and like and subscribe to the Goldie May channel. Okay, I'll open up Family Search, and we'll open up Goldie May on the right and go to my project for Mary Ann Leech. And I had just barely opened this before hitting record here, but I'll look at it with you and try to figure out where we're at, what do we know, and then where do we want to go from here. Let me pull up Mary Ann Leech subway map. And I like to use the subway map to just get familiar with the places in the story of her life. Okay, so we've got a few different locations in Ireland. We have her emigration to the United States in 1844. That looks good. We have another emigration, and this is sort of to Utah, also called Deseret at the time, in 1849. And then we have a kind of a stray point here for the census of 1870. So I think that might be a case where we could standardize it better so it's not just an unknown county, it's a known county. Let me look at that real quick. Okay, yeah, so the 70 census puts her in Iron County, Utah. So I think if I go into details and then to her 1870 residence, I could change that to... And I see two of them here. I might just delete one of them. Maybe I'll delete the newer one. And I'll just say delete. And under the 1870 residence, I'll put that she was in Iron County, Utah. And then on the subway map, I can go over here and reload. We should see this correct to Iron County. And then we have a pretty consistent story of her being in Iron County for a lot of her time in Utah. Okay, so we don't know where in Ireland she came from, or we ought to review why we think she's from these various parts of Ireland. To do that, I'm going to go into the Goldie May research log for her project and see what I have logged. I've got 23 pages logged here, but let me just look at which things that I like. Then we have this membership, this church record that says that she was from Banbridge, County Down, Ireland. So that's a pretty good clue because it's specific to a place, and I think it's saying that her child was born in Banbridge. Maybe two children were born in Banbridge. Now, this autobiography of William Adams is good. Williams is Mary Ann's husband, and it says, in the day of October 1842, took to me Mary Ann Leech to be my wife. She was the daughter of Hugh and Ann Leech, members of the branch. I was in the 21st year, and she was about 1 year older than I was. She was a bonnet maker and carried on the business in Hillsborough. On the 16th of September, I had a son born who was called Charles for his grandfather, Charles Adams. So I assumed that William's father is Charles. Let's just double check that. Okay, good. And it looks like it doesn't load anymore. So I'll go to the Internet Archive and see if I can look in the Wayback Machine for this page. And we'll go back to any of these snapshots should do. Okay, yeah, there it is. So what I'll do is just add this as a comment to this entry in the log in case I need it in the future. History of William Adams written by himself. What I'll do is just read through this, and I'm going to look for places in Ireland and see what else I see. And as I go, I'll add notes to the abstract or summary column of the log to keep all of this in one place. Okay, I've saved quite a bit of this autobiography into the abstract. And I don't know these places in Ireland, so this is the point where I want to go map these out and see where they are. What is my biggest question here? Let me go back in the line here on Mary Ann to her father and mother. Well, let's start with the father. I'll switch to the state-by-state view. Let me see how much this moving around in Ireland makes sense. So if I map the places, and let me just remove some of the U.S. ones, how does that look? Those are decently far apart. So we have him born in Belfast, married somewhere, and then living in Antrim, County Antrim. That's also Belfast. Wait a second, Belfast down? Okay, where's Belfast? Oh, the city continues to straddle County Antrim on the left bank and County Down on the right. So I don't know why it would be standardized to different counties for him unless we knew really where he was inside the county, but Maybe that's true. Birth of a child in Belfast down. So their children born in Antrim. Birth of a child Robert Leech in 1820 in Banbridge County Down. But it's, oh yeah, this birth is standardized to the wrong place, I assume. So let me go fix that. So it's Robert Leech, the son of Hugh, and if we come in here, and let's go to Banbridge County Down. I had to check, is it Banbridge or Bambridge, and it's with an N. So this is maybe just a typo that got picked up the wrong way. Okay, now when I go back to Mary Ann Leech's father, Hugh, and reload the data, this son in Banbridge should be corrected soon, and we'll see it pop into the right location. Interestingly, the first several children are born in Belfast, and then it looks like there are 2 children born in Banbridge. I would need to review where those are on a map. All right, both Northern Ireland, 25 miles apart. All right, I'd like to review more of the sources on Mary Ann Leech and see how do we tie her back to the family and the location in Ireland and see what we know. It's great that she lived all the way till 1900 because the 1900 census mentions that her father was born in Scotland, mother was born in Ireland, 9 children, of which 8 are living. That's always a fun thing to check. The tree says she had 9 children, and she said 8 of them lived past 1900, and I count 8. Hugh died as an infant. Father born in Scotland, not Ireland, which I think her 1880 census record had said that both of her parents were from Ireland. One says the father was from Scotland. That's interesting. One thing I don't see here is a death record for her. I do see her appearing in death records of her children, but do I see one for her? No. Let me see if it's just out of order by year. There's a lot of duplicate sources here. They're attached multiple times, even for the same source. So I'd probably someday delete some of these duplicates. But James said maybe better off to not ever do that just in case they're subtly different from each other. But let me look for a death record on this page. At some point, too, it'd probably be good. I should probably go in and add years to these records just to keep them in order since that's so nice for browsing, but not today. I don't see a death record for her. I'll check on Ancestry to see if what I wanted to look for was whether there's a tree person for her that I could compare. I think this is our Mary Ann Leech, found in 460 trees. I'll open a few of these. Okay, let's look at this one. And you see that the subway map drew the green line for the Ancestry version of her. Let me add on the other 2, and let's switch to this country view at first. Some of the data is just normalized differently, so this probably ought to be a Parowan, Utah, United States. This should be Utah, United States, so you get these outlier points. But what do we have here? You can see that the blue family search line does not have an 1880 census. It may just be that there's no fact for that. Yeah, there's no fact for the 1880 census, even though she's in the 1880 census. I think we said she was still in Parowan, Iron County. So I'll go ahead and go to her details tab and add a residence fact for her. And similarly, there's no 1900 census fact for her on the tree, so I'll go ahead and add that one as well. So it looks like this was still Summit, Iron County, also Parowan or Paragona. Interesting, 2 of the ancestry trees have the birth of a son, George Albert Adams. Do I have that one? George Albert Adams. We checked our count of children and it was already correct, but this is showing a son, Albert Adams, on some of these trees. And this yellow line has a daughter. If I take out the childbirths just to get a simpler view, then what do I have? Okay, maybe that's enough of that. I'll go ahead and look for the death record because we didn't see that. And I think in 1902 there might be Utah death records. Okay, opening up Utah on the Family Search Wiki. Let's see what the wiki says about death records. 1904 to 1964 on this. This is the state archives. Utah Death Certificate Index 1905. Okay, that's a little late. That's too bad. I wonder if we have any other indexes I could look at here. Yeah, it looks like the earliest death when I search by date is 1904. If I search for Adams, 1904, Leech, 1907. Yeah, okay, so I don't see a death record for her. She must have just barely missed it. So, what ties her to her parents? We did find that reference to her parents' names in her husband's autobiography, and I didn't see a lot besides that. Well, I haven't looked in memories yet. Maybe I'll check there. Great headstone here. Mary Ann Leech Adams, born Banbridge, County Down, Ireland, October 22nd, 1821. Died in Parowan, Iron County. I can't read that very well. I haven't looked at her Billion Graves picture of the headstone, so maybe someone's transcribed it there better than I can read it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump into Hugh now and see what sources we have for him. Just one source, and it's the autobiography. So that's where we get the name of Mary Ann's parents, but nothing else. Okay, that's too bad. Here's a memory where someone in 2006 wrote about the ancestor Hugh Leech. Here's a reference to the maternal grandparents Hugh and Anne Jameson Leech had come with their parents from the Highlands of Scotland. It's incredible that Hugh has one source, but then Hugh's father has over 100 sources. And yeah, maybe this is where it gets really messy because, I mean, look at that line. This is zigzagging all over the place. He's in England, Lancashire, England. Wow, this looks like one of those messy situations where the names match. And so it just becomes a black hole where hints draw people to it and it gets attached. And you've got, he has multiple wives and how many children here? 1, 2, 14, 16 plus 13 would be 29, 34 children here. And just all over England, Northern Ireland, Ireland, Scotland. So that's really where it gets messy and where it needs help. So I really want to back up and say, what do I know about Hugh and where would I go to find contemporary sources in Ireland about him? Okay, we think his last 2 children were born in Banbridge, death in Movilla, Ireland. That seems interesting. Movilla, Ireland. Movilla Abbey in Newtown. It's going to be one of the Ulsters and Ireland's most important monasteries. Okay, maybe that will do. I'm just going to standardize this, taking for granted what's already there, even though we don't have a record yet for his death. Okay, I've standardized the death place for Hugh in Ireland, and maybe that's a good place to stop. What I'll do is just go over to the research log, or to the project rather, and leave a note to myself to kind of remember where to pick up next time. And let me review for one last time this note I made to myself to know just a little bit of the background on where Hugh was at the time of Mary Ann's birth. Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.